Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant, and welcome to Grit and Valor. And today we have very distinguished guest with us. She's a veteran from Air Force. Her name is Squadron Leader Manvi Bali. So, without further ado, let me welcome her to our show.
Good afternoon, Chandrakant. Thank you so much for such a nice, warm welcome. And it's my pleasure to be a part of this today.
Absolutely. In fact, we would like to know about certain things which we have been hearing in the press. You know, something to do with the working condition of the women soldiers in our armed forces. And you have been a veteran. You have served the Air Force for a very long time, and I think you are the best person to discuss on this subject. And we have also seen recently there was a movie which covered that. Obviously, you know, that was all false, and Supreme Court of India struck that down. But anyway, I think what is the training schedule for women cadet? Is it different from men? What is your opinion?
Well, Chandrakant, I think I will start with, just very, very briefly talking about from where we all began. So, if we look at the history of the women in defense services, in 1888, the role of the women in the Indian Army began with the Indian Military Nursing Service, which was formed during the British rule. And we have some very, very notable names around from that time. In one of the recent series, also, a lot of people would have seen very, very strong women warriors like Noor Inayat Khan, Kalyani Sen. And then obviously we've also seen the famous women regiment under Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's Indian National Army called the Rani of Jhansi Regiment, one of its kind regiment during the World War II. And the Indian Armed Forces, they began inducting women officers in 1992. And look at where we have come, breaking all the societal barriers. In this present day, we have fighter pilots. Women have flown into combat zones. They will be inducted as sailors. And we are a very strong group of women in the Indian armed services. And from 1992 to 2021, it has been a long way. So would we say it has been an easy journey? Definitely not. So a lot of work had been done by the pioneers, the early batches of the women in the Indian Air Force. So like you mentioned, there's been a recent movie. Without mentioning the name of the movie and the person who's been mentioned in the movie, a lot of respect for the senior lady officer. But of course, around that time, the Indian services were adjusting to the fact that women will be inducted into the defense services. It was very new concepts for them, and now we've come a long way. That's the reason we have the three women officers into the fighter streams. So the life in Indian Air Force, when we started off with our trainings, there hasn't been any bias for lady officers. It was exactly the same physical regime. We passed the same physical fitness tests. We passed the same examinations. We went through exactly the similar service selection boards. So the entry to the training, to our specialized training post our commissioning, they all have been exactly the same. So I really don't understand from where the question comes that what is the difference between the men and women, because these services, I think, they're the pioneers when you talk about who don't create that sort of bias of caste, color, creed, sex, gender. It's never been around, so nobody really asks can you do this task or will you not be able to do this task because you are A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z? No, exactly not. It's a mission. If you are, so, the Indian Army logo, do you have it in you? Does it say, do you have it in you if you are a man or if you are a woman? No, it doesn't. So it just asks, do you have it in you? So if you have it in you, you just prove yourself. So that's what defense services is all about.
I think it's a great answer, and I think you have conveyed the message loud and clear for our viewers. But there are two sides of viewers we have. One is called civilian, other is called the forces. So when you talk about all these things, certain section of society would know exactly where you're coming from. But then there are people who are in the civilian, especially in the civilian side, who have never seen, who have no exposure to the defense, how it is done. I think there will be a lot of confusion with regard to specifically sending their girl child for army training. I think it is required to change the perception. What is your message for those kind of people where equal opportunities are given in the defense services for men and women, and how they can leverage it?
So if you look at this present, so let me give a very common example, which I give these days. So what has COVID taught us? It's taught us to be adaptable and survive in a situation which has been put in front of us. This adaptability and the survivability is part of a training in defense services. Don't you think these are the most important skills which even the girls of the today, they need to learn? I think everybody, why just girls? I generally don't mention male and female separately, again, because of the backgrounds that I come from. But this sort of independence that the defense services have, put inside us, the confidence that they've built in all of us. I can tell you, I am from a middle class family. My parents were in the services. And we were just like any other girls in the household, helping even our mothers in kitchens. But there weren't any biases or differences which were kept from the girls and the sons. So we still grew up thinking that okay, these are the things that the bhaias do and these are the things that the girls do. So when I entered academy, the first thing that was grilled inside my mind was that there isn't a thing which only the boys can do and the girls can't do. In fact, the physical and the psychological strength that women have is far more than, I'm so sorry, but it's more than what men do. And that has been proven in, the last few, if you've read the news, the women are just breaking records of all kinds when it comes to displaying physical and psychological strength. So I think for all the girls, not just independence, the confidence, a financial independence, and a lot of pride, which you yourself feel when you adorn that beautiful uniform. It can be olive green, it can be blue, it can be the white. But the moment you wear that uniform and you give that big salute to somebody, the pride with which your heart swells, I think there's no other profession in this world. I'm so sorry. I think, again, I'm very partial about it. But I think there isn't any other profession which gives you that sort of self-satisfaction that, this is like, it cannot get better than this. So I think, this is the profession for the girls of today and the girls of tomorrow.
Absolutely. In fact, when you talk about the psychological strength that women has inherently, or as the genetic code, describes it, we got an opportunity to cover the Triveni success last year.
Yes, awesome session.
Right. And this was, it can get as grueling as ever. You're middle of the ocean, 5 women, 5 soldiers from the Indian Defense Services, all by themselves circumnavigating the earth. I think they have achieved it. It was a great feat. Now, coming back to the moot question, when you were undergoing the academy training, what kind of training would you like to share? What I've heard from my friends is that, you have to drop down and give me 30, it's like that. Is it similar for you also?
Trust me, Chandrakant, it's not 30. It's definitely in 3 figures. It's sometimes 100 and more. So 30 is like a lassi day for us. But yes, the trainings are quite intensive. So they do understand, the services do understand that everybody is not coming from a very athletic background. So the defense services, they prepare you for what is going to come to you in near future. So it's not like you need to be a outstanding sports person or a gymnast or a body weight, you need to do a lot of exercises before you join the defense services. The defense services really understand your diverse backgrounds and they train you. So the first year of our training includes a lot of physical fitness. So the physical fitness starts early in the morning. So mornings generally start at around, sometimes it starts at 3. So normally I'll just not scare people. It starts at 4. So it starts with us getting absolutely fit and ready in our whites. So we call them whites, and we get ready for a morning PT. So after a PT, which is approximately a run of around 1.5 to 2 kilometers, we get back to our exercises, which includes a lot of push-ups, a lot of jumps, and a lot of rolling, and everything in academy. We are taught that you have to earn it. So we earn our breakfast, we earn our lunch, and we earn our dinners. We also earn our bookouts. So the earning session is wherein the entire course just gets together and they say, okay, so our book out today, which means we'll go out in the city today. We can negotiate at approximately like 500 push-ups from the entire course. So the entire course gets down on hands and we give 500 push-ups, all in high josh, that these 500 push-ups are going to take us out to the city and we are going to have some nice food today in Hyderabad. So again, it also builds on your strength, but it also builds in a lot of camaraderie amongst your fellow cadets. So we all have, again, a common cause, which is taught inside us from a very simple thing like just a book out. So we all just believe, yeah, that's a common cause. We all need to go out. What do we need to do that? We all need to give 500 push-ups. So let's all do that. So there have been times when we've gone in for cross countries, which we have regularly. And again, I've not been a very athletic person. And trust me, I just had one of my fellow cadets hand behind my back. He was just put his palm behind my back, and I would just continue to run. Again, if you think, what would that palm on the back of me would have done in helping me to run? Actually, nothing. But what it did to me psychologically was, Manvi, just keep on running. I'm behind you. So it didn't matter who comes first. What mattered was, all of us just do this together. So, the physical fitness was part of all these qualities and these traits which were built into us. So it wasn't like today we'll just get up and we'll, start doing A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. It used to be a lot of small activities through which the cause spirit used to develop, through which we would understand, how to stand for each other. So there used to be exercise wherein they just used to teach us, can you carry your friend behind your back? He's hurt. Can you carry him? And people would. I think about it, that how could a girl with a frail figure like me would be carrying one of my course mates behind my back? But we did. And sometimes I just wonder, what did they do to us? So it's all in the mind. That's what they taught us. Physical fitness is an aspect of you being strong, but it starts with your mind believing that you can achieve and you can do it. So that's what the physical regime is in the defense services.
I think you have put it very nicely. In fact, it's 90% the mental ability and 10% physical. And that is what the discipline of the defense teaches you. I think all soldiers go through that. And it's basically, you have to be fit all the time. And if you're not fit, you will not be able to carry out your operations. So going to the operations side of it, today in the mechanized warfare, you use billions of dollars of equipment. You may be having $1 million in your both hands. What kind of training you go through, and is there any difference between men and women training when it comes to equipment and all of these gadgets which are being used today? We would like to know more from you about this.
So after this first year of training at the Air Force Academy in Dundigal in Hyderabad, we all moved to our technical training. So I've been a technical officer with the Indian Air Force. So then we moved for 6 months. Another 1 year, we moved to the Air Force Technical College in Bangalore, Dundigal. And that's where we do our technical training there. After that training, there's a 6 months tetra, which is a specialized training for all of us, which is a training imparted to officers based on what equipment has been allotted to them. So I've been a communications officer. So I was the first batch who was uh, learning, and we were put through a tetra of learning all these new age radars, which were being inducted into the Indian Air Force. Indian Air Force was also going through the process of having the Air Force network. So we all were being trained on these things. Again, there hasn't been any difference in men and the female. We all been together from day one, and we were also together during our specialized trainings. Yes, there has been a lot of effort which has gone through in having women go through specialized training on the fighter aircraft streams from the technical side too. But again, we've been very successful in breaking those barriers. The women, you also have the first women being in the Mirage fleet, the first woman in the Isles, the first women in the Sukhois. So it took us some time, but then the enviable force that the women officers of today are, we proved our worth and we did get it. So no cribs at all.
Absolutely. So I think the defense services treat every individual equally and equal opportunities are
Yes.
given. I think that is very clear. Coming to the almost like my second last question is about the combat services. And when it comes to combat, obviously, men are chosen for doing that because there are inherent risk involved. However, now we are seeing women also in India who are now getting inducted in the frontline combat, and Israel has been having the women officers and soldiers for a very long time. Uh, do you see any challenge in that area if you are in combat, frontline combat? Do you see any big challenge for women soldiers?
Absolutely not, Chandrakant. If you see even the United States, the number of women officers that they have been inducting into direct combat zones after they've seen how women have performed, especially during their conflicts, uh, it's just rose manifold. So the issues, what issues? So that's my question. We've gone through the same trainings. We understand what entails when we go into combat zone. Obviously, we're not in some beautiful area, which is it's a combat zone. There are some things which are required of you as a soldier. And the women are far equipped to handle such adversities. So I don't see any issues in women going into active combat roles at all. In fact, they'll be great. History has proven that.
Yes, I think as far as my opinion goes on this subject is that India has been always having women soldiers, always. And I think the
Yes.
whole paradigm shift happened after the British started coming to India, and they didn't have women soldiers in their own army. But if you look at our history, Indian history, I mean, we have a lot of examples of women fighting and
Yes.
also carrying out strategic decisions which are required
Yes.
in the battlefield. You have any last words to convey for our viewers?
Just continuing with what you just said, womb which can give birth to a child, and arms which can give a lot of love to a child and a family. In case it really requires, our history has taught us that it can also pick up arms and fight. So the women are an enviable force, and the companies, the corporates, the defense services, they have realized that it's just beyond anybody to imagine a life without women in all these services. So it's a great future for all of us. Looking forward to a great, great, great future for all the young girls who will be willing to join the defense services in near future. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was a great pleasure learning about these things from you. Uh, and shall I call you Officer Manvi? I think that is a better way to call you instead of saying Miss Manvi, because you are a officer of the army, and once you are a squadron leader, you're always a squadron leader. So it was a great pleasure talking to you. We will catch up in the next episode very soon with something even more interesting.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much, Chandrakant. It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a nice